So here's your command to obey today. Follow God's plan, please. It gives a command. Let us follow it. We see a command given in verse 2 of Numbers chapter 2, and he is giving the Israelites a blueprint. He is telling them how to organize their nation. He is telling them how to organize their army. He's telling them where to camp and what to do. And believe it or not, God gives us commands. He gives us principles which to obey. Oftentimes there's a wide range of options within God's parameters and his directions and his commands. But either way, you got to stay within the guardrails. When we do things God's way, it usually goes better. May not make the situation better necessarily, but really internally, it really does. So follow God's plan, please. If you've not read Numbers chapter 2, again, it is a laborious work, but read through it and see if you can find a sin to avoid, promise to claim, attitude to change, a command to obey, or an example to follow. Find one of those for today. See what the Lord has for you, and I'm going to help try to make sense of this difficult book in chapter 2. So we see the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron. So they are of the tribe of Levi. That's important to remember. Remember, I want you to know tribe of Levi, tribe of Judah. Moses and Aaron are of the tribe of Levi. They are of that priestly class. So he is speaking to the leaders, Moses and Aaron, and he says, the people of Israel shall camp, each by his own standard. So there's a certain way you need to stand within your own family with the banners of their father's house. So you can think of there's flags, there is some sort of banners by which each tribe is known by, and they need to be identified clearly. And they're going to be not only by their own standard, but the banners of their father's houses. We know also that within each of these tribes, there will be clans and there will be families. And so I really do want to emphasize just for a moment this whole idea of fathers' houses. Now, in the general flavor of our culture, this whole idea of the husband and the father being the head of a household is definitely rejected and definitely disgraced and said it's silly, it's male chauvinism, whatever the arguments it is. And even within our own hearts, I think sometimes we can even feel that as Christians. I feel it as a pastor. I feel it as a millennial man, even myself in my own upgrowing, because there was abuses of this male chauvinism and in the way that historically the women were treated. It was wrong, and the right of the vote and things of that nature was wrong. And so, but sometimes the overcorrection is sometimes ridiculous because we still see not just here. There's just a reference here that I'm piggybacking on here, but the whole idea is that the man is the head of the household, and he should be a servant leader. A servant leader. The husband and the husband does not, the father does not just tell everybody what to do. No way, shape, or form. No, he just says it's a partnership. We see it with Adam and Eve between the husband and the wife. There's partnership together. Of course, if you're talking divorce and you're talking widow situation, that does change a little bit of the dynamics of the household. But in a traditional family, the husband and the wife being linked together, mommy and daddy, or if there's a step or there's a blended family, either way, the husband needs to be a servant leader. And we don't need to lose sight of that, men in particular. And ladies, you don't want to lose sight of that either. A man that is following after the Lord, that is serving you and serving your house, it is what you want. It's what he has given us. So please, folks, let's follow God's plan. Let's not do the silly things, sinful, silly things that has been done in the past, but let us not forget what God has given us, particularly in the New Testament, commands about that. So here's my little thought there. Either way, you need to follow God's plan. Do it. And notice, how are they supposed to do it? They're supposed to face the tent of meeting. So if we're going to piggyback still on this whole idea of households following the Lord, doing things his way, their direction is where? Toward the Lord. They're looking at God. They're looking at that tent of meeting. Worship service is primary. That is up First and foremost, we are going to serve God as our family. That's what Joshua was able to say. He said, you choose this day whom you're going to serve. You're going to choose the gods of the Amorites, or who you're going to serve. But as for me and my house, we are going to serve the Lord. So we're going to face the tent of meeting. We're going to face our God. Now, here is very, very interesting, because the rest of this chapter begins to show and tell where each of the folks are going to camp. So notice it says that they're supposed to camp each by his own standard with the banners of their father's house. And God's going to tell each of the tribes where they're supposed to be camping. And here's a nice little diagram of chapter 2 of saying where everybody's supposed to be at. There's Benjamin, there's Manasseh, there's Ephraim, there's Judah. Why are they bigger? Because they're bigger. There's more people that would have ended up camping there. So there is an image of how the Israelites would be camping. There is the tabernacle right there in the middle, and there's the Levites right around them. And it was Moses' family that was going to be gathering right here on the east side of the temple. So you see the sizes of these tribes are trying to be depicted by this. And yes, also want to point out that God is very smart. And when he tells us what to do, he does it for a reason. And he's telling these folks, he's telling the Israelites where they need to camp for a particular reason. Now, this is amazing. When you think about, remember, each of these tribes they link back to an ancestor from the sons of Jacob. God changed Jacob's name to Israel. That's why we call it the 12 tribes of Israel. If you do your math, there's actually 13, because there's Levi in there. Because what's happened is Joseph became 2 tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh. So if we go up here, you got Ephraim and Manasseh. That is Rachel's children, Joseph and Benjamin. If you think back to the Genesis story, Benjamin's the youngest brother. Joseph loved Benjamin. In fact, Rachel died while she was in childbirth with Benjamin. And special attention. And notice who's camping together. Those 3 tribes, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. Here's another one. You look over here at Leah's family. Reuben and Simeon, the oldest and the second oldest, are together right here. And who is camping with them? Gad. That is going to be Leah's servant. Now remember, Jacob did silly things. He had 2 wives. He had servants that he had children with. Like, this is really a dysfunctional family right here. God can use dysfunctional families. Always remember that. And in reality, every family is dysfunctional. You got some sort of dysfunction in you. But notice who's together. Well, of course, we're going to put these 2 together. Simeon, Levi, and Gad. They're camping together. Judah, same situations. Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. If we look here, we have Judah. And then the youngest ones, he's going to end up becoming the leader tribe, Judah is. Here we got the younger brothers coming in here, Issachar and Zebulun, living with him. Dan, Asher, and Naphtali, or Naphtali, depends on how you want to say that. These are almost like the black sheep group. They're all kind of outsiders here. Gad with Zilpah, and then you have Asher, and then you have Naphtali, all being Zilpah and Bilhah's children. So these were the servants that Jacob ended up having children with. Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. And then, so Gad, Asher, and Naphtali were camping together. Dan was over here with Gad. I'm going to confuse you all. You see the point there. God is putting people together that relationally could get together. And I don't know how much I want to make of this, but if you looked at this encampment with the size of the tribes, what does that look like to you? Looks like a cross, doesn't it? Isn't that cool? I don't know if we should make anything of that or not, but that's kind of cool. With the way that they're situated around the tabernacle, they're encamping in the cross. So neat. I find that very neat. So you see all the text, everything that I explained to you is being given to us in the text of chapter 2. The tent of meeting shall set out. So what happened is that the eastern tribes are going to take off first. So Judah is going to go, then Issachar is going to fall behind, then Zebulun, and then we are going to go to Reuben is going to set out next. I think that's right. Yeah, on the south side, the chief. Yeah. So Judah. So when we're moving, Judah's going to go first. Issachar is going to fall behind them. Zebulun's going to fall behind them. Then Reuben is going to fall behind Simeon, then Gad. And then the tabernacle is going to follow. And then we're going to have Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. Then we're going to have Dan, Asher, and Naphtali at the end. So that is the order that they are walking through. Now, I have not checked that. So if the text of Scripture says something different, let's make sure that, yes, all those listed at the camp of Dan were 157,600. They shall set out last. So I told you wrong. Let's go up here and fix that. So Dan is going to be the last one to actually set out. So they're marching in straight lines as they go, and then when they camp, this is how they're supposed to encamp. So let's do things God's way. And if you notice right here, an example to follow, verse 34 at the very end of chapter 2, thus did the people of Israel. Let's do what God tells us to do. See y'all in the next video. I don't know about this 5 to 6 minute stuff, but we'll try. See you later.